Through extensive research about addiction, I now believe that medical help to help those with an addiction should be more readily available. Those who commit an addiction-related crime should receive the help they need instead of just being sent to a prison. There are many different types of addiction. However, the two most common addictions are drug and alcohol addiction. In America alone, around 21 million people have an addiction. Of those millions of people, only 10% receive help. The National Center for Drug Abuse and Statistics states that since the year 2000, there has been over 700,000 deaths from drug overdoses in the United States. Many of these addicts are first introduced to an addictive substance before they are 18, meaning many of the addicts started using a product when they were only a child. On the National Center for Drug Abuse Statistics website, it said that many people started an addictive substance when they were only 12 years old. It is absolutely heartbreaking to think about a 12-year-old thinking their life is already that bad that they want to find an escape, or that in order to be cool, they need to try an addictive substance. Another leading cause for addiction is mental health, as many feel as if the addictive substances will help them stop feeling depressed and allow them to forget about everything that is troubling them. In 2018, 158,000 adolescents in the U.S. had both a major depressive episode and a substance use disorder. 9.2 million adults had both a mental illness and at least one substance use disorder within that year. Substance abuse leads to many destructive situations, which can include family disruptions, financial problems, lost productivity, failure in school, domestic violence, child abuse, and crime. The National Institute on Drug Abuse states that 65% of the U.S. prison population has an active substance use disorder, while 20% do not have an active substance use disorder. However, they were under the influence of drugs or alcohol at the time of their crime. When addicts go to prison, they will experience a period of withdrawals, resulting in a reduced tolerance to opioids because they are no longer taking drugs throughout the time they are in prison. However, once released from prison, 79% of people go back to using drugs. When they use drugs again, they continue to use the amount they took before going into prison. People do not realize that their body is no longer used to that amount, which then increases the risk of overdose and death. If those that commit drug-related crimes were to have access to a facility to help with their addiction instead of being sent to prison, many would go into remission instead of turning back to drugs as soon as they are released from prison. The National Institute on Drug Abuse states, scientific research since the mid-1970s shows that treatment of those with substance use disorders in the criminal justice system can change their attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors toward drug use, avoid relapse, and successfully remove themselves from a life of substance use and crime. The Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion states that more than half of all people arrested in the United States, including for homicide, assault, and theft, test positive for illicit drugs. In 2009, there was an estimated 10.5 million people aged 12 or older reported driving under the influence of illicit drugs in the United States. And among the fatally injured drivers, 18% tested positive for at least one drug. These people were then sent to a prison where upon release, 89% of them relapsed. If they were to have gone through a rehabilitation program instead of going to prison, it is very likely that they would not have relapsed. However, many believe that those who suffer from addiction and commit crimes should face jail time instead of spending time in an addiction facility. This belief comes from the thought process that the prisoners will go through detox in prison, and since they no longer need it, the prisoners will not choose to go back to the addictive substance. However, they do not understand that if the prisoners do not get the help they need, they will not be educated on the steps they need to take in order to go into remission. Through my research, I learned that the current system America has to help those who are suffering from addiction is flawed and needs to quickly improve in order to save lives. Meaning, America should have addiction treatment centers and therapy readily available to everyone as well as those who commit an addiction-based crime, because they should be sent to an addiction center instead of a prison where they can receive the help they need.